BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you. I'm your regular Wednesday evening host here at BodyBags. It is week 410. It is the opening week of July. It is random week, and boy did I go random here. I picked this up, man, at a Dollar Tree for like $1, literally $1, with a slipcover and everything. And we are talking about The Eyes of My Mother, a Nick Pesce film from 2016, which stars one Kika Magalhaes as Francisca, which is, man, she is absolutely amazing. But look at this, man, $1 at the Dollar Tree. I highly recommend, not that you ought to just get this movie, even if you have to spend a few bucks on Amazon, but man, if you're just out and about and you happen to be at a Dollar Tree, man, you really need to take a look and see what's in there, because man, I have found some gems along the way in these last couple years as I go in there. But anyways, The Eyes of My Mother, I wasn't expecting to review this. I had the whole month laid out in a particular way, and I don't know what it was. Something, I don't know, someone said something, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a look. So I took a little sneak peek into the reviews. Probably shouldn't have, because I almost didn't watch it. I almost reverted back to what I had planned. Boy, am I glad I did watch it, though, man. I put it on late last night. This is a black and white film. Again, this is from 2016, and it really falls in, I think, a similar, not so far different vein than, let's say, Eggers the Witch from 15, even Oz Perkins is the Black Coat's daughter. I would even say maybe, I'm thinking cinematography here, Senatucci from back in 2010, Steiner film. And these guys are all first time, directorial debut. Well, not Steiner, but the other two. And this one is a directorial debut. And what a stunner this movie is. Now, it is abstract, American Gothic, pays service to the 60s and 70s American Gothic films, like Straight Jacket and whatnot. But it is definitely abstract. It's in a 3-act play. It is only runs only like an hour and 17 minutes, I want to say. One of the reviews I saw mentioned that for the hour 17, it really sort of dragged along. It didn't for me, man. I don't know if it's just the black and white quality, the cinematography, the music, the score, man. This guy's a big freak of Stanley Kubrick. He's got some music on a lot of shorts that involve Kubrick. And the music you hear a little bit here is very subtle, just works on you. I would say definitely the director's vision, the cinematography and the score really work together in this film and create a real sense of dread of sorts. Basically what you got here, man, is it's a Portuguese family. You're led to believe they're probably immigrants from Portugal settled here in the United States somewhere. A lot of ambiguity in terms of where this takes place here in the U.S. Although the director does say there are hints laid out. I didn't catch it when I was watching it last night. I've only watched it once, so my review is just kind of based on that. There's I think three of the main characters are Portuguese, and so there is Portuguese language, which really does give a heavy foreign vibe almost. It's interesting. It's almost kind of like the Portuguese works for this film, much like the Old English worked for The Witch, I think, in a way. It's weird. But anyways, you get this girl who's very, very attached to her mother. At least you're sort of led to believe. And the first act is mother, the second act is father, the third act is family. And you really have a girl here who has some serious, serious issues. There's just something wrong with this girl from the very beginning. Although I think she gives up really subtle things to mom, because even in the very beginning opening scene, you see the mom and her together, and she does a couple things, weird nuanced things that mom sort of corrects around and sort of like, what are you doing? And I don't know, it's weird that there seems to be a disconnect. It's very, very, very subtle though. What's really interesting is, well, anyways, real quick, so you don't get much of a setup with her and her mom, because dad goes off to work. I think you're led to believe he goes off to work, and or somewhere to run an errand maybe. And this door-to-door salesman shows up. This guy, his name is Charlie. This guy, Brill, I think. This guy is creepy, man, as they come, man. I mean, in the angst kind of level here. He basically cons his way into the house, and basically forces his way to use the restroom. But then when he's in the house far enough, he pulls out a gun and forces mom to basically go to the back of the house where the bathroom is, where he begins to bludgeon her. And dad comes home. Now this is really where the movie really is bizarre in a way. I say not bizarre. Bizarre is negative. I don't mean it negative at all. It's different in a way that the father's reaction when he catches the guy, and a lot of this film is built on aftermath, what you get after the fact, which is pretty unsettling. You don't get a lot in the act of, and so he comes and he basically deals with the guy. Unfortunately, mom has already been killed, but he then takes the intruder out to the barn, chains him up. But then there is, man, the disconnect, man, is just it's unreal, man. He comes back in and he just sits on the couch, man, and I'm telling you, there's like nothing between him and the daughter anymore. I mean, and of course without mom there, and so the guy's just out there chained, which is so weird. And eventually the daughter will go out there, and because she's got no one else, and she'll basically pluck out his eyes, which begs a sort of explanation, and takes out his larynx, man, Motel Hello style, man. And if you get that, and he asks why, and she says because he's the only friend that she has, and so she basically keeps him around, man, and feeds him and just keeps him alive, and in order to have some bond, some connection to something, which ultimately over the course of the film gets really, really twisted. And so, man, time goes, man, and eventually you move out of Act 1 into Act 2, and you just see the disconnect grow, and dad, although there, is not there. Now, it's funny. It's like when you watch this movie, it begs a lot of questions. One of which is the ultimate reaction to things. And I think a lot of it may be due to cultural differences. They are Portuguese, and so I'm wondering if there's something embedded in that. And plus, there's got to be just a quality of being stunned. I mean, you just come home and someone has bludgeoned your wife to death. I mean, there's something to that too. Plus, the cultural differences in how some cultures would handle that versus others. And so it's an interesting film. It is abstract. Things are very loosely there. There's a lot of work for you as a viewer. As a viewer, you're sort of there as a casual observer. You're not really part of things. You're just there sort of going along, trying to make sense of things. And so it's man, it was a weird watch last night, man. It was, I really dug it, man, and I just dug the director's, the whole vibe, the cinematography, man. I don't know, man. You think of movies like The Witch, I brought up, and Blackcoat's Daughter, Cinetigi, and there are other films to reference, but man, the cinematography is freaking beautiful, man. And things will sort of, escalate and tailspin out of control. Dad will die, and there's a lot of homages to a lot of earlier stuff, earlier films. Nothing is really explained about the girl as she grows up. She really tailspins out of control, man, and she starts committing acts of violence that are just, they're definitely, although aftermath, right? They're still unsettling to know what kind of monster she's becoming. And I'll say this. When a movie forces you to have to think your way through and wonder what gives, I'll tell you where my mind went, man. It went to Spider Baby, man, 1964, man, in the Mary Syndrome. All I kept thinking about is that last framing shot of Peter's little girl, when he's like just sort of grinning there, everything's fine with us, and then suddenly you get her out there looking at a spider, and she just gets that look, man, in her eyes, and you just know, man, she's got it, man, and something, she is going to turn into a monster. Same there. I mean, the way this girl here, Francisca, looks, and the way, even as a little girl, Just the emotion she holds or lack of in her eyes, and the Mary girl from Spider Baby. I'm telling you, all I kept thinking of was that maybe there's the answer to this girl's problem. She has a disease of some sort that is just breaking down her sense of being able, her ability to rationalize things and cope and do things in a much more normalized way. Although she's been put through the ringer, right? Mom's been bludgeoned to death. She loses her dad eventually, and then she's forced to commit again. So it's just horrid acts of violence, which leads to a final and conclusion, which is pretty unsettling. Although it's left to interpretation exactly what happens in the final closing moments. But I would say, man, this movie, man, this is, I can't believe I got this with the slipcover Dollar Tree. I just can't believe it, man. I mean, this movie ought to be on every film connoisseur shelf, man. I mean, this is a piece of film that ought to be seen and reflected upon as, I mean, because you got these guys, man, who are just hitting home runs with their directorial debuts, and he's another one, man. Nick Pesce, he is another one to be keeping an eye on and watching in the years to come. You know, I think that's all I want to say, I guess. I could just go on and on and on. Maybe that's why I need a podcast or something. I just could talk, man. The Eyes of My Mother, man, from Nick Pesce, a 2016 film here at week 410. Next week, a theme week. It is Shameless Week as a label. And yours truly will be looking at Ruggero Deodato's Phantom of Death is up next. So, anyways, man, gotta love these first timers, man. Just freaking hitting things out of the park. You just gotta love it, man. Anyways, we always end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.